Secretary, binanggit nga, you mentioned the agenda of the new administration. Sinabi na ni President Marcos, he wants emphasis on science, technology, math, no? Ano yung plans niya by way of increasing interest in science education?
Well, essentially, we have a very good human resource development program providing scholarships to high school through the Philippine Science High School system, but also providing scholarships to undergraduates, masters, and in the PhD program. What I would want this program to add would be entrepreneurship, as we think that we have to match the scientific skills, technological skills with entrepreneurship, so that the knowledge, skills, innovations that our scholars would gain or would produce would be converted to something that will help our economic development. I think that's what happened in Japan, where they initially trained many scientists and engineers, but it did not really make a big impact. And I think what they did was to mix science, engineering, and entrepreneurship, and that's why they have developed. Now, the interest, though, should be increased, but by making sure that we in government, especially at DOST, would be able to show to our youth the importance of science, technology, engineering, math, agriculture, creative arts, and this will be a very good opportunity for them if they embark on it. In the long term, the global trend is that we are into digitalization, science and engineering, creative arts, and I think this would also help people that right now we can be an overseas Filipino worker but still staying within the country. And I think DOST can really shape up this trend by focusing on the various sciences, engineering, math, agriculture, creative arts, and mixing this with entrepreneurship.
You're talking about...
Do we leave it at that? I mean, science and technology in itself is, of course, a very clear field that we're trying to encourage more and more young people to go into. But is there any particular sector or any particular area that you would encourage young Filipinos to go into, maybe on the premise that we may have a competitive advantage to develop in those areas? Are there any areas that you would particularly highlight for our young people as they consider what fields they will enter in the next years?
Well, if you look at our Global Innovation Index, we are kind of high in the electronics industry. But I think the way to go is really into digitalization, because almost everyone, developed countries, are going into Industry 4.0 with artificial intelligence, Internet of Things. I think that is where many of our young students can really gain a lot of employment and actually hasten the economic development, because even in government, digital transformation program is a must. It's not simply with the private sector. In fact, several agencies of the Department of Science and Technology are into it. For example, PWOX has developed a platform, a digital database, so that planning can be made easy. In fact, soon we will launch an automated planning tool that can help local government prepare and risk recover for any disaster. This is just an example. So we will also embark within the DOST system a digital transformation program so that we can actually develop effective and efficient systems that will then relate to our stakeholders.
Secretary, you mentioned the government support for startups, for incubators. What about the Balik Scientist program? What about the scientists we have lost? Are we going to intensify this program?
Yes, in fact, our Balik Scientist program has really been intensified from an average of around 25 or 30, doubling it up just before the pandemic to around 60. So to address the brain drain, we have the brain gain by enticing our Filipino scientists and engineers working abroad to serve short to long term, maybe less than 6 months, 15 days to 6 months, and more than 6 months to 1 year. And some of our Balik scientists have decided to stay permanently in the Philippines by establishing their own research labs or working in a university. And I think this will be very important. Now, aside from this, we need to also focus on the specialization that would really be very important in the long-term view of the DOST. We have the Pagtanaw 2050, developed by our national scientists and academicians, together with the scientific community, on the trends that we see in the globe that we should be also looking into. One of this would be really developing our marine resources, as this would be more than twice our land, so that we can avail of the vast marine resources for various purposes, like, for example, for food and also for maritime purposes. We are an archaeological country. We need to be developing this and maximizing these resources.